So one of the reasons I like to use transparencies is because now I can use a variety of media with the stencils and I can reuse them, and they tend to not get too damaged, so I can use them for at least a couple of sessions. I've just got a paper box here, pizza box, and I've taped the stencil down on top of some white paper. And what I've done is masked over with the masking tape the hearts that kind of don't fit. So this card panel is going to be for an A4 card, and these two just don't fit, so I just tape over them. I do like to use masking tape that's for delicate surfaces. That way I can peel it off from the paper more easily. So look in your painter's aisle, not just for regular painter's tape, but for tape that's meant for delicate or freshly painted surfaces. And then I'm just going to start playing a little bit here and see what happens. I'm also taking May Flom's Adventures and Field Guide to Scrapbooking, and so I'm playing with mist this week. So one of the things I do like to do is mist, but then one of the things I can also do is take another piece of paper, this is white on this side, and then just lay it on top. I'm going to be a little bit precise because there is a line of hearts there. But I can rub that over the top then. And so now I can not only get the positive, but I can get the negative. That's kind of neat. And I've also sort of cleaned my stencil off at the same time. Can peel that up carefully. You see that I probably went a little bit spray happy and missed a spot with my tape there because I have a little bit of extra stuff there, but that's okay. That's part of the fun of misting. So I really like the pink and the tan colors and things like that. So I found this pink piece of paper, and I'm going to just try misting this a little bit with this tan. And then I'm going to move my mask here. This is mask I've had for a little while. I'm going to mist it here so I get a little bit of different depths. Of course there's my finger, so we'll mist over that. Okay, you can see here. So that creates a really nice background effect. I think what I am going to do though is, since this one's kind of already got a little bit of stuff on there, I'm going to just lay this one on top of this mask that has this ink and pick this up. And that's left a really nice pattern. And then I think because everything looks better with a little shimmer, I'm going to add a little bit of shimmer to this now. I have this Perfect Pearls Mist. It's an heirloom gold. Shake that up real good. Now we'll see how that looks after it dries. So probably one of my favorite things to do with stencils is to use ink with them. So I'm going to use this chalk ink here that I've had for a while. It's kind of a nice dark red color. And decided to use one of the pieces of the 8.5 by 11 pink paper that I misted with the stencil, or the mask, to use as a backdrop. I also like to use an ink applicator tool. This one's from Colorbox. There are other ones out there. And I don't clean my tips in between. I just make sure that I have a red tip for my red inking and a blue tip for my blue inking. I have cleaned off the blue marks using some stamp cleaner because, as I noticed from before, that doesn't really work. I'll rub this into here, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to start by just kind of tapping into the ink and rubbing into that stencil a little bit. And since I've only taped at the bottom here, I actually can just peel this back and see if I like the way that's looking, and I do. I think I'd like to have maybe a little bit darker just on the one side, so I'm going to just try and make it dark on the one side by applying just a little bit more ink And that way I'll get just a little bit more depth out of that image. So it's hard to see there because it's all covered up. When I uncover it, I think you'll see how it's a little bit darker on that side and a little bit lighter on the other side. So now I have a nice row of hearts that I made with my stencil. One of the other fun things you can do after you've made a stencil is use the remaining bits as masks. So I've actually got the heart taped down there with a little bit of removable adhesive, and I've still got my ink applicator loaded up with some ink. I'll get some more ink here in case I need more. And I'm just going to go around the outside. And kind of the trick here is to do circular sweeping so we don't get a harsh line, too harsh a line, at least on the outside. Start on our mask and rub off. See those little things are little bits of my foam pad wearing off. I've used this one for quite a while. It's probably time to retire it. So I'm not 100% happy with the edges on this, so sometimes what I do in order to clean that up is I just stamp over it. So I'm going to take this big stamp that's got a lot of noise, a lot of kind of stuff happening, so nobody will really notice anything else. And I'll just put that right over my mask. Make sure I push down really well. Remember, since I have that mask there, might be a little ridge, so I want to make sure I get really good contact with the rest of the paper there. And now you see, now that I've covered it with ink on the other areas, it's really hard to even see where my coloring stopped and started. So that fixed that. Now when I peel that off, I have a really nice heart left for my embellishing. So finally I wanted to use that big heart stencil again, and I really liked how that stamp looked on the outside using the masked part. So I thought I would try this as a stencil and see how that worked. So I'm going to cover the two hearts over here with this piece of paper because the stamp is too wide to fit over one, but not wide enough to fit over two. And I'm going to stamp, making sure I get nice in the pressure in the center there. Excellent. Now I could clean my stencil now, but I think I'm going to just work with this the way it is. I'm going to be rubbing some of that brown ink, and I'm going to be using the same chalk ink here, but I think I might like that effect, because what I wouldn't mind doing is getting a little bit of darkness along the edge. So I'm going to kind of just rub that in lightly. That brown's a nice color. And now I'm going to really go in on that, just that one side. And you can see with a larger stencil like this one, I have a lot more control over kind of the depth of the shading. So I'm really going to get this top part dark and keep the rest of it a little bit lighter, and so I'll continue on here. So finally, just to wrap this up, I've shown you today how you can make two different stencils using your punches. If you have a die cutting machine, you don't even have to worry about the sandwiches. You can die cut most of your images really easily. This is a nice way to get a nice row of image by using your punches, because you can use the back of the punch to line things up and then just have a mark so that you can register each image a certain distance apart. These stencils, because they're made of transparencies, you can clean them up really easily using soap and water or a stamp cleaner or whatever you've got available, and they can be reused, so they're very versatile. You can use them with mists like I did here. You can use the mists and get the reverse image as I did here. You can also use them with inks to get a nice soft image there. Particularly your larger scraps you can also use as masks so that you can have the opposite image. Or finally, you can also use the larger ones and have a little more control over the inking and the depth of color with a larger punch. These are just some samples for right now. These are going to get worked up into cards, but I can't show you Paul's Valentine's card before he gets it. But these are some ideas that I have and some pieces that I'll be working with as I make his card for Valentine's Day. I hope you have some time to spend time with someone you love this week, and maybe it'll be some time crafting. Thanks, and have a great day.